On November 17, 2023, the New York Times released a 35-page lawsuit filed by Cassandra Ventura, most known by her stage name, Cassie. It was filed against mega mogul and industry executive Sean Combs, who I'll mostly be referring to today as Diddy. In the lawsuit, Cassie alleged counts of assault, abuse, forced drugging, and a laundry list of many other vile acts. When the New York Times publicized the lawsuit, it wasn't just a release of the actual document. The article itself also validated many of Cassie's claims, resulting in a domino effect in which several other rumors and potential pieces of evidence started to arise from just about every crack and crevice of the internet.
Learning recently one horrific detail from Cassie.
She told me the only time he was willing to do anything or work on her music, go through any plans, any of that, was when she had a freak off. So all of our music, all my work, to find out that like I spent all these years writing these songs for him to rape my friend to, like, is just.
Before we even get to the studio with him and Cassie in the studio, Wale was already telling us like, Diddy be acting crazy over her. Diddy don't want nobody working around her, so y'all make sure y'all don't look at her too wild or make her feel uncomfortable. Her and Wale doing what they do in the studio, but they helping each other. It's just professional. I swear to God, yeah, Diddy and his security guys walk through this room. All I heard was a rock go, do, 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 do. So me and Shy run to the blinds. We peeping through the blinds. But I got my grandmother. They got Wale over top of his feet. They got him off his feet, hanging off the balcony. So I'm like, Mom, what the hell is going on? But Wale had already hit us to this, that Diddy is crazy about this Cassie girl and nobody could be around her, just that and the third.
Say that. That was a 19-year-old girl that what they call now groomed. She wanted the career. She wanted to do the music. She wanted to be a performer and all this stuff like that. He held all that shit over her head, bro. And now that she came out and telling everybody her story and what happened to her, people are saying that she ain't right for putting a lawsuit against him, but she earned every bit of that, bro.
Now, whether it was just people's lust for gossip or their genuine concern with justice, we were really gearing up for what many people thought was going to be the biggest abuse discovery in entertainment since R. Kelly. Oh, but then, within just one day, a settlement for an undisclosed amount was reached. The downfall of Diddy is as popular a story as it is because he's a different kind of devil. We're used to abuse going undiscovered in the entertainment industry. But in Diddy's case, Diddy has left a pretty comprehensive trail of several wrongdoings throughout the years. But because of what he represents as a Black, extremely powerful, extremely well-connected, Christian hyper-capitalist, his actions were deemed all but inconsequential. It allowed him to shenan and shenan again, all under the protection of consumer delusion. And it is crucial that we pay attention. So hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is T if you're new here, and today, from televised abuse to God complexes to cover-ups and propaganda, this gonna be a low ride.
Sometimes you think your purpose is one thing, but life is ever changing. There's levels to this shit. But you gotta redesign and clarify. That's life, you know what I'm saying? Can't no money or whatever it is or anything stop from catching one, you know what I'm saying? Catching a mean stomp out. Ass whoopings always work. I'm gonna tell you now, ass whoopings always work.
Chapter 1. The Billionaire Baptism.
You feel me? So I want to thank God, because if it wasn't for God, I would have went crazy, y'all. You feel me? If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. You feel me?
Diddy, aka Brother Love, has been publicly putting in the work since 2017 to sanitize his image and decelerate his long overdue reckoning through the centering of what is often referred to as the universal language of all human beings, which is love. This corny motherfucker. You see, Diddy could have been like Jay-Z or even Dr. Dre, you know, a super rich industry titan with a successful musical past, but whose actual personality and behaviors is otherwise concealed from the public. But Diddy said, or I imagine he said, nah, that's not good enough. Let me not only exploit my workers, let me not only sell aspiring artists pipe dreams, let me put it on TV. So how Diddy was on TV back then, these days that absolutely wouldn't fly, especially in competition reality. We don't really put up with mean hosts like that. But back then, in the early to mid 2000s, when hip hop was at the height of its bling bling, fur coat, popping $1,000 bottles in the club era, and with shows such as The Fabulous Life of the Rich and Famous, the public developed a major fascination with seeing extreme wealth in action and a ridiculously high tolerance for the behavioral absurdity that came with it. So Diddy puts himself on TV, notably on a show called Making the Band, which ran on MTV from 2002 to 2009 and produced musical acts such as Day 26 and the iconic Diddy Combs. There was also a show called I Want to Work for Diddy that ran from 2008 to 2010, which featured a memorable contestant, a Miss, and you will not believe this, Laverne Cox. I saw Laverne on, I said, what are you doing in there with all them? So concerned for her safety. On these shows, Diddy presents as a cutthroat, ruthless superior. He seldom smiled, his demands were outrageous, and he rarely gave compliments. But when he did, they could be career-making, almost immediately establishing a fear-based relationship with the contestants. But because such high reward came from his approval, he was never really the villain. And it also makes me think, I don't know if this was intentional editing or if it was just my own internalized misogyny at such a young age, but celebrity choreographer Laurieann Gibson, who was the appointed choreographer of the show, she was painted as more of a bear than Diddy was, and all she was doing was telling him to boom cat cat. Get these motherfucking steps right. Now, granted, she wasn't very nice about it.
Let's go back. Too much! Breathe in my ear, you're on top of the vocal, Taquita. I'm not giving you this.
But at least she wasn't making people walk all the way from Manhattan, across the bridge, to downtown Brooklyn, in the cold, to pick up some cheesecake. Diddy painted this cheesecake challenge as like, oh, this is to test your endurance type thing. You know, this is a litmus test of your dedication.
It's not about me trying to do a mean-spirited initiation hazing act to them. It's a bigger picture to it.
Cheesecake, if my cheesecake is in the least bit soft or brittle or not on point, you will go back. Somebody gonna quit. Somebody ain't got the heart.
I see what was supposed to be the gag. I see what was supposed to be tea, but it ended up just being piss. That was not conditioning for a greater goal. Situations like that, where an authority figure is asking you to do something outrageous, something that is not even in the slightest bit conducive to the goal at hand, but mostly just for their amusement. And if you refuse to do it, you risk losing everything, all the work you've already put in. There's a word for that. There is a word for that. It's coercion, yeah. Even more so, the expectation of contestants to mentally alchemize this obvious abuse of power into gratitude. That's the real salt in the wound right there. I feel like he wasn't just trying to foster a relationship in which he said jump and they said how high, but they also said, from where, boss? Off a cliff? Off a building? Into traffic? When the Cassie lawsuit went public, the resounding response that I saw on my side of the internet at least was, yeah, that definitely, it checks out. Definitely sounds like something Diddy would do. Why do you think we were saying that? Because it seems practical that the same guy who was on Making the Band acting like that on camera and was allegedly withholding publishing and masters from his artists behind the scenes on top of everything else would evolve into someone this evil if he wasn't, you know, that evil all along. But I think, as we do for so many wealthy people, that we expected that his moral bankruptcy would only show in his business practices and nowhere else. This is the trick we fall for every time. So long as someone can justify their bad behavior with success or with products that make us feel good, we don't condemn it. Think Cosby, think R. Kelly, think, should I today? There's a man He's not with us anymore. He used to glide across the stage.
His name is Michael Jackson.
The pacification. Okay, we're not today. In Diddy's case, he's had a hand in some of the most legendary moments in musical history. Tell me if you recognize any of these songs. I'm gonna just play it real quick. You see how you see how we recognize those songs without even hearing the full thing? Diddy. Unfortunately, especially if you're younger and you know those songs and they weren't just passed down to you, but you know them through, let's say, commercials and movies and maybe even TikTok, it's because Diddy has made incredible songs that have extreme longevity in musical culture. And even if we want to pivot away from music, we know that he starred on but was also an executive producer for the show Making the Band and I Want to Work for Diddy. Also, Whose House? Run's House. Loved Run's House so much. Oh my goodness. Shout out to all my real girlies, Vanessa and Angela Simmons. Who had pastry shoes? Who had, let me see in the comments, who had pastry shoes? It was a time. Yeah, Mr. Sean Combs, executive producer of that show too. On the fashion front, in 1998, he founded the fashion line Sean John, and that was an incredible success. I hate to keep saying you just had to be there, but Rockaware, Baby Fat, Fat Farm, and maybe a little bit of G-Unit and Sean John, those were the Black celebrity-owned fashion brands of the 2000s. And they were affordable to us, which is like so different from how celebrity fashion brands work now. Child, not back then. It's so weird to think, like, our dads and uncles was wearing the same jeans as Jay-Z. What was that about? Anyway, what I'm getting at is Diddy has had a hand in many super significant cultural moments, and for that reason, he has always been protected by the sanctity of consumer endearment. And in the same way that we can celebrate him as an African-American cultural visionary, we can also acknowledge that his individualism, arrogance, and greed probably also played a role. We're socialized to only acknowledge the liberating facade of the product and not the oppressive means to produce it. And even as uncomfortable or even as regressive as it may feel, these culturally significant yet predatory Black figures are counting on just that. And they're more than meeting us halfway. His actions were even more shielded with his constant citing of a higher power. And that also allowed him to cosplay humility. Now you see, this is where it gets really sticky, because you can rightfully criticize a public figure all you want, or really just anyone. You can rightfully criticize anyone all you want. You could be making sense too, but the second they bring their higher power into it, it's like walking to the edge of a cliff. DonnellWrites made a video on this, so good. Like, why do you think these politicians, specifically the ones who want to carry out some of the most bigoted, extremist plans, cite religion so heavily, and in like a case, can't he, like, Christian down, right? But can't even cite not one verse of the Bible. And in another interview saying he don't even believe in repentance. He doesn't practice repentance. Okay, yeah, using the sanctity of a religion, particularly a popular and followed religion, to excuse your terrible behavior. Okay, back to rappers. Jouelzy has a video about rappers and their Jesus complex, where she expands on a shift that happened in the late 90s to early 2000s, which was truly Diddy's heyday as a musical artist. She states that there was a, quote, more capitalistic output in the rhetoric of hip-hop music. Hip-hop became less about empowering Black men as living gods of wisdom and more about empowering Black men through attaining capital while praising the established Christian God for said success and support. Y'all should really go watch Jouelzy's video because so many rappers have this complex and they all use it for different reasons, for different personal advantages, and there's a deep, deep history behind it. I have a lot of thoughts on this, especially as someone who has been questioning religion in my personal life, but who has been particularly questioning the Christian religion's positioning in Black popular culture. One of the things that I am beginning to notice is for the rich and famous, God is constantly being used as a tool of absolution. If you can find a way to say the characteristics of your persona that go completely against the Christian religion, be it hatred of women, the abuse of women,
my face, but he like started punching me like on the side of my head, and I was just like covering my face. And then after he got done doing that, he like stomped on my stomach. I like took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe.
Be it materialism, be it lying, stealing, killing, allegedly, and still center a higher power to publicly relay that as righteous, citing all criticism as crucifixion, and damning all naysayers as blasphemous. Oh, you locked in. Because now all your problematic actions, they're no longer yours, but rather just a message communicated by a higher power through you. It's really a chosen one mentality, but like so many men in hip hop are doing it right now. Like I mentioned, so many men in politics are doing it right now. And again, they are all using it for different reasons, really for whatever they need absolution from. So to reference Jasmine Garden, it really makes me think when it comes to the super wealthy who are constantly citing blessings and anointment for their questionable and very problematic actions, can they really say they were created in God's image? Or was God created in theirs? Chapter 2, Celebrity, the Illness and Remedy.
I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
See, I think another place where we fuck up in our attempts to understand how someone could do what Diddy has been accused of is we think of it as a person knowingly did a bad thing because they thought they could get away with it, instead of a person did things that they didn't even deem as bad. They deemed it pretty okay, arguably good, but just for them. And again, the just for them part typically comes from that chosen one complex that we just discussed. I need to turn on a studio light. The sun has been a mixy, wishy-washy girl yet again. When am I gonna learn my lesson? I gotta turn on a light. Hold on. Okay, I don't know if that did much of anything, but all right. So, yeah, when we're trying to take celebrities off of a pedestal and better understand their behaviors, a common thing I see is, well, you know, at the end of the day, they are just people in society just like us. No, they're not. In OpenStax, Introduction to Sociology E3, they state, quote, in sociological terms, society refers to a group of people who live in a definable community and share the same cultural components. On a broader scale, society consists of the people and institutions around us, our shared beliefs, and our cultural ideas. Typically, many societies also share a political authority. End quote. They further go on to explain the concept of a feudal society, which rose in the 9th century, which relied heavily on hierarchies and generational wealth, later evolving to the economic system of capitalism. What this tells me is that celebrities, especially the ones who are super wealthy, because you know, rich and famous ain't the two-piece combo that it used to be. Anyway, They are not part of society as we understand it. They don't share ideas, they don't share culture, they don't share interests with the average person. They are not a part of our society. If anything, they are their own society. Therefore, we can't keep putting it past them to have interpersonal, political, and even sexual values that completely go against what we would consider as right and just. And it's important that I emphasize that because I feel like this is a reason why people struggle so much to hold their faves, alive or dead, accountable for the awful things they've done. Maybe we couldn't fathom ourselves doing it, and it creates a sort of, you kind of got to look inward when you say, well, if I couldn't imagine myself doing something like that, but I love someone who could do something like that, then what does that make me? So you just absolve the person altogether. You gotta let that go. Because to love a celebrity is to love someone from a completely different world, physically and psychologically. To bring it to more recent world events. And I'm kind of two minds when it comes to this, but multiple things can be true at once. So my hot take, and I know this opposes a lot of the takes I've been hearing from other content creators. When people voice their disappointment in celebrities for not speaking up against genocide and imperialism, I'm hearing, you see, this is the problem. This is the problem with us centering the voices of celebrities and relying on them to be decent human beings, compassionate and actionable human beings. You know, do you see how you made that mistake? Do you see how we made that mistake as fans, as consumers? Do you see how that's an us problem? I love y'all, but y'all have got to give me a break. I love y'all, but you have to give me a break. Because please stop acting so much more discerning than thou. Please stop making it seem as though however long you've spent adoring or just even liking a public figure, that you have been able to so successfully compartmentalize that you truly only see this person as a singing head or dancing feet or an acting face or whatever, that you never once felt connected enough to a stranger that you expected them to speak up amidst several humanitarian crises. Not everyone has done the work of understanding the super rich and famous, super wealthy as completely different people with fundamentally different mentalities. I mean, even making this video was definitely my first time putting pen to paper or putting fingertips to keyboard, whatever, to really articulate this like weird feeling, the feeling of this disconnect. But guess what? Even though we're coming to a collective consciousness that these people are odd, we can still criticize them when they've done some fucked up shit. And choosing to take the heat off of them, off of their fucked up actions, and redirect that criticism back onto us as fan consumers for not knowing better, I think it inadvertently enables celebrity cult culture. It continues to other them. It further excuses their behavior. So my key point is, it is important for us to recognize the distance and the dissonance between us as regular members of society and the ultra rich and famous. And yes, we should use that knowledge to help mitigate our expectations of them moving forward. But at the same time, wrong is wrong, and I'm not gonna baby them about it. I'm gonna call them out every fucking time. My foot, they ass, every time. I'm not just gonna be silent and let them be bad people just because I know they're inclined to it. Like, no, you still getting called out, Pookie. Back to what I was saying. They like being othered. They have no interest in being integrated back into society as a normal person, as normal people, unless their public image is being affected. This Brother Love campaign, from it first launched in 2017, coincidentally after Diddy was sued by his ex-chef for sexual harassment and wage violations, as well as an alleged assault with a kettlebell of a UCLA coach in 2015, on top of everything else. I believe this brother love thing has all been a campaign to integrate him back into society, to save face, to save ass. Just like the first name change. Oh yes! In 2001, he officially changed his stage name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy after he was acquitted of 5 counts of bribery and criminal possession of a weapon, which stemmed from a December '99 shooting at a club in New York involving his then protege Shine, who went on to serve 8 years, also involving his then girlfriend, Amish Jennifer Lopez. Save face, save ass. Integrate back into society. This includes Carisha, allegedly. Okay, so I've looked very closely at Diddy and Carisha's relationship in prep for this video. And to me, it looks like if you told someone to build a cruise ship out of Legos. Like, I definitely see what you were going for, but that is just an odd pair. Like, something is really off. Have y'all seen that Carisha Please debut episode where she interviewed him? You know, it was a pretty fun and entertaining interview. It just seemed like 2 famous people getting together to chop it up over some liquor. And that's a podcast genre right there. You know, celebs getting together to do recreational drugs and tell on themselves. Yeah. But then throughout the interview, there were these pockets of genuineness that they really tried to manufacture. And it was so weird, especially since those genuine moments, like, they just so quickly segued into promo. It would be like heartfelt, heartfelt, heartfelt. Oh, and make sure you check out my tequila and check out my new single and the new album and we going to Mexico. And there was no exception for this pattern, not even when they brought up the death of Kim Porter. Ugh, I don't know why. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea for Carisha to come out the gate swinging with one of the very first questions she asked Diddy being, how has fatherhood been since Kim Porter's passing? Okay. Especially with the theories surrounding Kim Porter's passing. If you know, you know. Very weird for that to be brought up. Also weird that he was so quick to admit that prior to her passing, he was a part-time father. So it like literally took her dying for him to be present, be fully present. Weird. But the weird ass icing on this weird ass cake was after the Kim Porter monologue.
I had a wonderful life in time with Kim, you know what I'm saying? But I'm back up on my feet, you know, and I'm ready to love again.
Period. Let's take a shot.
No. Cruise ship out of Legos. What is this? What is this? I think the true oddity in this pair, and I've been feeling like this since they first like publicly stepped out together. I'm just wondering why are you telling us? Why are you showing us this? You know, Diddy strikes me as the kind of public figure who is very particular, very intentional about who and what he allows himself to be publicly associated with. He doesn't seem very careless in that regard at all. So considering that this is a self-proclaimed situationship, proclaimed by both Diddy and Carisha, a situation that is non-committal, not very serious, why they keep shoving it in our faces? Like, why are they on red carpets? Why are they showing up to the Met Gala together? All up on social media, taking, like, children involved, families being blended, all behind a situationship? Why does it continue to be publicized if there's not another message that is meant to be communicated to us? A running theory is that Diddy knew about Cassie's lawsuit prior to it being dropped, prior to it being made public. So he got with Carisha ahead of time. This is all alleged. He got with Carisha ahead of time to sanitize his image and really appeal to a younger audience, aka the audience, the age group, I should say, that would be the most vocal amidst a bombshell lawsuit like the one Cassie filed. I gotta say, it's kind of adding up, because the image of who he is in this relationship with Carisha. Hold on a second, actually. A 50-something-year-old man in a situationship with a 20-something-year-old woman is already giving. It's already giving. Okay. But for people in Carisha's age group, that's what we out here doing. Like I said, this rumor was adding up because the image of who he is in this relationship with Carisha goes almost completely against who Cassie was alleging him to be in the lawsuit. So if with Carisha, he's kind and easygoing and extremely generous, could he really be the evil, controlling, abusive monster that Cassie's lawsuit alleged he was? The answer is yes. Why, yes, he could. And if this is true, I don't think whoever came up with this plan, this whole Carisha plan, whoever on his team came up with that, I don't think that they took into account that we, the young people, or really just the public, we wouldn't fall for it when shit actually hit the fan. I don't think they took into account how low our collective tolerance is for accusations like that, even if the man being accused is dipped in gold. We are not the same audience from the 2000s. I don't think the team took into account just how detrimental it would be for a man, powerful as he is, to enter the court of public opinion, especially at this time, at the intersection of Me Too and late stage capitalism and Eat the Rich and media sensation. Like, I don't think nobody, not Diddy himself, not his team, not his peers, industry titans alike, who I know have been shitting it. I know that they have been silently living in fear that one day they gonna get found out too. I know that none of the people I just listed could have expected this kind of response. This was huge. And I could only hope that one day soon, ultimately, that no woman ever has to go through what Cassie has alleged, but especially that we don't ignore the writing on the wall, the writing on our phone screens, our TV screens, when it's right there in front of us, sometimes years and years in advance. We often think of sexual predation as something spontaneous, like these people just woke up one day and decided to be extremely bad out of nowhere. No, there is so much space and opportunity for their bad behaviors to grow worse and worse throughout the years. And I hope that through this case, we can pay closer attention to people, to these people we assign virtue to just because they're rich and black. They're rich, black, and powerful. Like, actually really watch those people. And in the excavation of hip hop that we were hoping the Diddy trial would bring forth, I hope we continue to pursue that. Because I know Cassie is not the only victim. People are doing this in a number of ways. I know there's a creator, I'm forgetting her name, but I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. She's been digging up rap lyrics of statutory rape, and it really has the boys shaking. She's doing a good thing, but I know that when men in hip hop are critical of this, I feel like they're trying to say, well, what do you want? What do you want? To just end hip hop completely? Is that what you little feminists are trying to do? Well, let me put it to you this way. If a genre of music cannot exist without actual or implied violence, then yes. See, that's it. That's the only rule. Hip hop can exist whichever kind of way it wants to exist. Like, the possibilities are endless. There's just one rule that you have to follow, and that's that it don't hurt nobody in the process. And that includes men. Ugh. This is what really be blowing mine. So many men in hip hop become visibly uncomfortable and shaken anytime Diddy is brought up, or he's in the room, or they are recounting an experience where they were in the same vicinity with him. Y'all tough about everything else, but become visibly intimidated when he pulls up. Y'all don't want to examine that? Like, y'all don't want that to change too? Anyway, yeah, I only want hip hop to exist if it doesn't have to hurt anyone in the process, not in the lyrics, not in the songs, not in the imagery, not at the parties, not in the relationships. No hurt, nobody. Because I don't care how hard it goes. No single, no album, no platinum plaque is worth the cost of sexual violence. Thank you all so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end of the video. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, however you're feeling today, and I will see you sometime in 2024. Bye.